Frank, NBC Sports Philadelphia.
I like it, Ruben. Yes, good seeing you.
When you look back at that '99 team, I think there were 10 future head coaches, either playing or on your staff. Did you have any sense that early what you had as far as potential coaching talent?
Well, I thought I did. You never know, though, until I guess it happens, right? But I felt like we had a good, solid staff, yeah, for sure. And then things worked out for them. So.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Over here on your left. Practice today, are you anticipating the whole team going?
Yes. That's my right, though. Just know that. Doggone it, Herbie. I got you. Yeah, I'm giving you all the old ones, but I'll take it. Little Wayne, wasn't he just at our place? Who was just at our place? Oh, that was You got to give me an easier question than that, doggone. Huh? All right, appreciate you. All right, where you at? I got a lot of hands. Just.
Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. Coach, I want to hit you with a hard-hitting question as well. What does the perfect Andy Reid cheeseburger look like?
Yeah, you know, I answered that about 50 times the other night. I almost forgot I was a coach. But, yeah, just it's got to have a good bun. Let's start there, right? And then fresh meat. And then you put anything else on it other than mustard, and you're good. I'll eat it.
I feel like I'm going to ruin this here, Coach.
No, you're all right.
I'm going to swing this back to football, but I feel like I have to pepper it in. How do you take your coffee? We'll start there. How do you take your coffee?
You know, I don't drink coffee, but I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't drink it.
What do you drink in the morning then to start your day?
I just get up and go. I got endless energy for a chubby guy.
All right, my real question then. You guys are going to go through more of a full speed type practice today. What do you need to see from your quarterback to make you feel comfortable in this game plan that you guys have already installed?
Yeah, so he's been doing really well with his ankle. And we had a fast practice a couple days ago, and he moved well. He can really do just about everything, so at least everything in the game plan that we've asked him to do. So I think he'll be fine today. Yep.
Jose Villalba from Multimedios and Milenio in Mexico.
Yes.
First of all, I agree with you. Less mustard, better. I think I agree
Thank you.
with that.
Good.
Part. And second of all, your partnership with Patrick Mahomes. What has been the key working with him? And you have a lot of success with a lot of quarterbacks throughout. What has been the key with Patrick Mahomes and the leadership? It seems like you guys, even being here with the media, and a certain presence to be able to, the big stage. How has that been key for both of you guys?
Yeah, so Patrick is, he's easy to be around. He wants to be the best. He strives for that every day. Every rep that he has in practice, he tries to do it the best he possibly can. From a coach's standpoint, that's all you can ask. He handles himself right in the off season. It's very tough in the National Football League for guys to handle the front office, the coaches, and the players, and not have one jealous of the other. And he does that well. So he's very respectful, professional. Grew up in a locker room because of his father, giving him that opportunity to jump in there when he was playing Major League Baseball. So he understands the dynamic of things and how things work, and he understands people. So he does very good with that. Yeah, you bet.
Coach, Andrew Wiley is your only returning starter from the last Super Bowl appearance. And he was stepping in for the injuries to play that position. What's it to say about Andrew with all of the turnover on that line that he's solidified and won that position outright?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, Niang was kind of the young kid that was coming up through, got hurt. Andrew, first of all, stuck around with us when he had opportunities to potentially go somewhere else, stayed with us, and it worked out great for him, where he's back in that starting role. He's done a nice job for us this season. He's really a tough kid. Not everything's pretty, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, he's going to fight you, and that's important, and he does well with that.
Hi, good morning, Coach Reid.
Morning.
Ever since Patrick Mahomes arrived to the Kansas City Chiefs, you've done better each year, and every time, well, 4 years, 3 times in 4 years, you've reached the Super Bowl. Can you call yourself a dynasty?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not really into all that. I'll let you guys deal with that. You know, it's important in our world that as coaches and players that you try to get better every day, and that you're only as good as your last game, and so, or the next game, I should say, and so we're striving to focus in on this thing, trying not to look at all that stuff. That's good when you retire. You can kind of go, hey, you know, they said we were a dynasty. Wow. So, but right now, you don't let that get in here. You know, that's just away from that. Good question, though.
Hey, Coach, over to your left.
Gotcha.
As somebody who's so well-versed in the quarterback position, how impressed have you been with the quick rise of Jalen Hurts, and do you see any similarities between, you know, how Patrick ascended rather quickly in the league?
Yeah, Jalen, first of all, Jalen's a good kid, and so he's fit in very well with that team. He's one of the leaders on that team, if not the main leader. And his play has proven out to be very, very good. So, and he'll do nothing but get better with time. I mean, that's just how it works at that position. But he looks like he's in complete control of that offense, and it's a real tribute to the kid. Yeah.
Coach, right here in the front, Aaron Lett.
Yep.
You've talked for a while about blocking out distractions. What's the toughest part about this week for coaches and for players, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, it takes you out of your normal routine. You try to keep it as close to that as possible, but you've got media obligations like this that you've got to do, and a couple other things that they throw in there. But for the most part, we try to keep the practices relatively the same and on schedule. So, but I'd probably tell you just the magnitude of the media and a few of the other things that you're asked to do, promotional things.
Coach, we're going to stay over here, first row.
Coach, I know you brought in JuJu this offseason as you guys were trying to replenish the wide receiver room. What did you make of his season, and how willing would you be to work with him maybe to keep him here long-term past this year?
Yeah, JuJu, first of all, is a good kid. He's a lot of fun to be around and loves to play the game. He's a great balancer for Kels. So you like to have somebody with a common components that plays opposite Travis, and JuJu has that. He knows how to play in space. He's a big target. He's tough to tackle once he has the ball in his hands. He has great hands, and he's smart. He knows, he understands the game.
Over here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You've already talked a little bit throughout the season about the contributions that Matt Nagy's provided, but can you kind of summarize, as the season's coming to a close, what he's been able to do, why you decided to bring him back, and what the impact of having him has been on your offense?
Yeah, listen, I think Matt's a great coach. I think he knows people, handles people well. He's a good teacher. The players respond to the way he to his approach to coaching, and he had a relationship with Pat Mahomes, and so it was a natural fit for him to come back here. It was just a matter if he wanted to sit out a year or get right back into it as an assistant coach, and so he did. He wanted to jump back in and go, and we're sure glad to get him. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Coach, I know you're focused on football, but when you look at yourself, how have you changed from your first Super Bowl? How have you changed as a person? How have you changed as a coach in your approach to your job?
Yeah. I don't think I've changed much that way. I've lost a little more hair and not weight, but it's about the same picture that I did for the first Super Bowl. It's very similar to when I was in Green Bay and under Mike Holmgren, kind of same format, and it was the same for him when he was under Bill Walsh at San Francisco. So, that part's fairly consistent, I think, if you look through the years.
Good morning,
Gotcha.
Coach Reid. Evan Walker, WXCI 91.7 FM.
All right,
I just wanted to ask you, when it comes to defensive game planning against Jalen Hurts, do you think it'd be worth it to put a spy on him or just have that linebacker drop back into coverage?
Well, you got to keep an eye on him for sure. He is a great runner, but he also can throw the ball well. So, but you better keep an eye on him somewhere there, whatever approach we take.
Coach, I'm from Germany. What does this, you've been to several Super Bowls, what does this one mean to you? And obviously every Super Bowl is special, brings special challenges. What's the biggest challenge this time?
Yeah, so it is special. I think the older you get, the more you appreciate them. And then the challenge is the Philadelphia Eagles. So they've got a good football team. And we're in that preparation part of that, and we want to make sure that as coaches we give the players everything they need to be successful, and physically, mentally alike, and so that's the process we're in now. We got a couple more days to get that done, and and then we cut everybody loose and we go play and let the chips fall where they may. And we look forward to playing in Germany this next year. We're very excited about that. So.
We're going to go three more. We're going to go here in the middle of the room and finish up front.
This will repeat in English. Buenos días, Coach Andy. Mi nombre es Mayra Gómez. Venimos de la Ciudad de México con máximo avance. Antes que todo, lo queremos felicitar por su gran carrera hasta el momento y felicitarlo por estar nuevamente en el Super Bowl. Good morning, Coach Andy. My name is Mayra Gomez. We are Máximo Avance from Mexico City. First of all, we'd like to congratulate you on your career thus far and for being back in the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Ayer estuvimos platicando con Michael Vick y nos comentó que una de las cosas para sobresalir mientras tienes un quarterback movible es precisamente el entrenador en jefe. Michael Vick told us yesterday that one of the great things that in order for a mobile quarterback to be successful is to have the right head coach. And so he mentioned you and said that it was great for you that you had embraced Patrick Mahomes the way you had when you discovered his style. When did you discover his style? When did you know the kind of quarterback you had? And when that happened, what were your thoughts as far as your playbook? Was that a challenge? Did it maximize your playbook? And my second question, mi segunda pregunta como mexicana, es, ¿te encanta la carne asada? O por lo menos es lo que nos ha dicho, que te gusta la comida mexicana. ¿Cuál es tu plato favorito? What is your favorite Mexican dish, as we've been told you love Mexican food?
Yeah, there's not a lot of food I don't like, but yeah, that's Michael Vick's right. I like quarterbacks that are mobile. That's been part of this offense for a long time. Joe Montana, Steve Young, they were mobile quarterbacks. Then Donovan McNabb came in, and he was a mobile quarterback, and it just kind of has fallen right in line with that. Brett Favre, who's not the fastest guy in the world, very similar to Patrick, not the fastest guy in the world, but still had a lot of yards running the ball when needed. The important thing to add to that, and all those guys had this, was their ability to keep their eyes down the field. And so if there was an available throw that they could get the ball out to the receivers in that time. So, and then thus didn't take as many hits running the ball as you might think of with a running, with a quarterback that's running the option or something of that sort. So, but that I didn't have to change the playbook much at all. It's all kind of built in there. As far as Mexican food, if you guys have not had a chili relleno burrito, you need to try one.
All right. Sorry, we got to cut it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
With you see Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, where you think you talk a little bit about where you guys are in terms of history and what has meant for your development as a quarterback?
Yeah, it's been a great run, and I think it started. I mean, as the friends we became off the field, that we've become like brothers now. That relationship that we have has kind of translated on the field, and I know what he's thinking when he's out there. And I mean, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tight end of all time. And so for me to just find ways to get in the football, and the way that he works, to get himself better and better every year. I mean, it's a special player that hopefully we can keep going for a long time because, I mean, he's a guy that you'll never have another player like him in your career.
Hey, Patrick. So last week you had mentioned that the ankle was preventing you from really stopping with some of the pain. Where are you at, and how close do you feel like you are to just doing everything that you'd be able to normally do with the injury?
Yeah, I don't think you'll know exactly until you get to game day. I'm definitely in a better spot. I definitely can move around better than I was moving last week or 2 weeks ago. And so it's just trying to continue to get the treatment and the rehab and get to as close as I can to 100%, and then rely on some adrenaline to let me do a little bit extra when I'm on the field. So it's going to be definitely better, more mobile, be able to move around a little bit better for sure. And then we'll see on game day how close to 100% I can be.
Stay right here.
Hey, Patrick, another question on Travis. Can you describe what kind of presence he has in the locker room? I mean, he seems like a vocal guy to us, but I just wondered if that's the case inside the locker room. And then also, what are the things that sort of prompt him to speak up, whether it's during the week, during the game, whatever it might be?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a vocal guy. I mean, he's one of the main leaders in this locker room. I mean, one of the core guys that's been here for longer than I've been here, the whole entire run of really Coach Reid's run in the Kansas City Chiefs. And so I think he can be vocal because he's the hardest working guy in the locker room as well. And he's in the building, he's working his tail off, he's finishing every route, he's blocking, working on his blocking. I mean, there's times when he's not in, he's like walking to the side and he's like working on routes by himself. And I mean, whenever you have a guy that's one of the hardest working people, that's one of the greatest players of all time, then he is that vocal. He can be that vocal leader, and everybody responds because they know he's doing it the right way.
Right here. Good one, Ben. Good morning,
Patrick. What is the biggest challenge of facing this Eagles defense?
I mean, they're great everywhere, so it's hard to pick one. I mean, obviously, I'd probably say the defensive line, just because, I mean, they're on a historic sack rate, and the way they're able to get to the quarterback, and so everybody knows that everything starts up front, and so it'll be a great challenge for our offensive line to try to do what they can in the run game and the pass game of protecting and run blocking. But I mean, they got great DBs, they got great linebackers, and so when you have a great unit, it's about how can you execute and prevent negative plays, and they've done a great job, especially in the playoffs, of causing negative plays, and turnovers are usually what win and lose a football game. And so for us, we understand it's going to be a great challenge through and through, but the defensive line is a special group, and so I'd probably say that.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is speaking today. I know you're the player union rep for the team. If there's anything you would like to see change the way the NFL operates, or anything you would suggest if you had a conversation with him, what would it be?
Man, anytime we can get more money to the players, I always like that, so I'd probably say that.
Over here. Hi, Tandy Cheerwith, Channel 8 TV. A question that we're curious about is, we know that you do like commercials and other things with your teammates and coaches. So my question is, what are your favorite activities to do with your other teammates and coaches off the field, and how does that translate in your relationship on the field?
Yeah, so my favorite activity to do off the field with my teammates is golf. I like to golf in the off season. I don't golf during the season, but in the off season we like to get out there, and I've started to get more and more guys into it. And so it started off, I got Travis into it, and now I'm getting the offensive line into it. And it's not about how good you shoot. I think it's more about the camaraderie you have out there. You're out there for 3-4 hours at a time. If you're playing at a good speed, and you're out and you hang out with the guys, and you're competing, but at the same time you're just enjoying it. So I would say that's probably the main activity I do in the off season.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Sammy from French Media. Thanks for having us on that Las Vegas Raiders game. We got Kelsey having his podcast. We got B. Marsh in the house. Do you have two players in your locker room that would make a great podcast?
Yeah, I would say Chris Jones and Frank Clark. I don't know if it'd be allowed by Ted over here, but they would definitely have the best podcast if they were allowed to have one.
Great question, and I played with Frank Clark over here.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
I played with Frank Clark. That was a great choice. Before I ask you a question, Ted Cruz, I just want to say you're a legend. 11th season. You know, you guys are making a lot of history this week, but there's people like you that's really holding our game up. So I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the game of football. All right, brother. So how you doing?
Good, man.
Good. All right, great. Rihanna came out and said that you are the greatest quarterback ever. Hearing that, how does that make you feel?
It makes you feel great. She's going to crush it at halftime. I have family members that I think are more excited about the halftime show than they are the game. And so whatever Rihanna says is like the gospel. So I'm glad that she went with me for that honor.
She didn't. She didn't. I was just messing around.
Oh man. You got me up here smiling and smirking.
Okay, all right, my last question, and it's a serious one. What are you chasing?
What I'm chasing is I never say I'm chasing a player. I'm chasing that I don't want to have any regrets when I step off this football field. And I understand how lucky I am to be in this organization. I understand how lucky I am to play with guys that are going to be Hall of Famers. And so when I look back at the end of my career, I don't want to look back and be like, man, I didn't give everything I have to win Super Bowls because of the great people I have around me. And so when I get done with my career, I just want to make sure that I know that I gave everything I had on that football field.
Hey, Patrick. I know you won't be able to attend tomorrow night, but just what it means to you to be up for the MVP award as well as the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, how much those mean to you?
Yeah, I think, it gives you a great appreciation of this sport, man. The hard work you put in every single day. And playing the last few years and not being up for the award, I think it gives me even better appreciation. And it's something like at the end of my career, like we were just talking about, I want to look back and say, man, like I was able to win the MVP once and hopefully have a chance to win it again this year. And then even more importantly than that, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. It's something that it takes more than just me. I mean, I have so many people that help me with my foundation to help run it. And you want to get back and make Kansas City a better place than when you got there. But it speaks to the people I have around me and the community that I live in that I'm able to give back to Kansas City so much, and I would have the honor to be even up for this award.
Hi, Patrick. You tweeted LeBron James yesterday after he broke the scoring record. Do you have a relationship with him, and can you gather inspiration off of an accomplishment like that?
Yeah, I mean, I first off, I talk to him every once in a while and try to gain as much advice as possible. But I think you gain inspiration because I think you heard him talking about it last night. It wasn't something that he was chasing. It wasn't something that he even thought was possible. He just continued to work every single year, every single day, and he got there. And he's still playing at a high level. And so, like I said, it's legendary stuff. I mean, there's some records that no one thinks will ever be broken. And to see a guy that puts in the work every single day and gets to that milestone, who's not even a scorer first. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. And he has the most points of all time, but he's not even a scorer. He just continues to work and try to win championships, and he's able to reach goals that I don't think anyone ever thought were going to be broken.
Morning, Patrick. When you look at Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni and the magnetism that they bring to really rally players around them, they're similar in a way, but I think they're also different in that way. So from your perspective as a player, can you talk a little bit about, obviously outside of the sheer knowledge of the game, but those defining qualities that you look for in a coach that really enable a team like the Chiefs and like the Eagles to rally around those guys?
Yeah, I think you just see the different generations between the coaches. I mean, both of them are obviously great coaches to have their teams in this moment. But as far as for me seeing Coach Reid, I think it's just the way he puts the work in every single day as well. So you never question that he's prepared and ready to go. He enjoys it. You still feel has that kid spirit, and he likes to joke around and have fun. And then he knows how to get the best out of every single player. And he knows, and there's a kind of a special, unique quality where he's able to get the best out of you no matter where you're from, or how that he has to do that. And so not only him, we have a lot of great coaches in this organization, and they push us every single day. And sometimes when we have practicing pads like on Monday we're like, why are we doing this? But we know that they're doing it for the right reasons to get us ready to go for the Super Bowl.
All right, we got 3 more questions. We'll go right here in the front and then finish over here.
Patrick, hi, Simon from Danish TV. I was just wondering, this is the 3rd time that you're here at the Super Bowl. Is there anything you're doing different this time around, coming the others, and what especially that is that will help you win on Sunday?
Yeah, I think you have a better understanding of the whole process, so you can kind of find those little windows where you can get a little extra film study in, a little extra rest. I think especially the first Super Bowl when I was in Miami, it was like kind of you got to go here, and you kind of were just kind of trying to figure out a way to get it all done. Whereas now I have a better understanding of the process and the schedule, and I had Ted and them sending me the schedule like a week early just so I could plan it out and have a good plan for what I was going to go about my week doing.
Patrick, good morning. Kyle Nash with the three-point conversion. Obviously, this game, first two black quarterbacks facing each other. What do you see in Jalen Hurts that reminds you of a young Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, well, I'm not that old, but it's
younger.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing about Jalen is the way he works, man. He goes to work every single day, and you can see it. He gets better and better every single year, and that's what we're all striving to do is get better and better. And I'm better than I was when I was at that point in my career. And you continue to work, and you continue to put in that leadership role that he has, and you can see how the guys follow him, man. They follow him, and they'll do whatever they can to help that guy succeed. And so it'll be a great game, man. And obviously he can do all the physical stuff. He can run, he can throw, and do all that different type of stuff. But the work ethic is what will get you through, and I think that he's at the top tier of that.
Thank you, Patrick. And hey, I'm in my 40s, so you're both younger than me.
Yeah.
Last question. Patrick, hi, good morning. Federico Olvera here from Damebola, Mexico City. Hello again. Patrick, so far in your career, what has been one of your plays that you have liked the most? And the second one, what is your favorite play in the history of the National Football League?
I would say my favorite play in the history of the National Football League. I would probably say the Franco Harris play. I was watching it obviously with this last year and him passing away, and how special that moment was. You get a better perspective when you realize what the scenario was. And obviously I didn't see it, and I wasn't allowed to see it. But I saw, like, you see highlights of it. You're like, oh, what a sweet play. But this last year, seeing the significance of it and what part of the game it was and how it took them on to that great run that they had in the Steelers organization, I'd say that's probably it's one of the greatest plays in the history of football. And then my favorite play. It's got to be Wallace, man. It helped us win the Super Bowl, so I would say that's probably my favorite play of my career.
All right, thank you.
I can't believe you got me with that. I can't believe you got me with that question.
I mean, it opens up their offensive playbook. We're able to limit the run, focus on the pass, then we can kind of get in the groove in a game and what we like to do as a team.
Chris, you mentioned Eagles' offensive line. You think they're the best in the league?
Graded by PFF, I think. Yeah.
What stands out to you about them?
Everything. They're the best in the league, right?
And from your side of things, how exciting is that challenge to go up against the best?
Yeah, every week it's a challenge for me, especially when you're playing in the Super Bowl against the best of the best. So we're very fortunate. We're excited about it. Jason Kelce and that amazing offensive line, and we got to see what type of pressure we can bring against them.
What goes into dictating terms up front, kind of winning that line of scrimmage?
A lot of preparation, a lot of film study, film work, and game day decisions.
If you were to explain it to somebody on the outside, because we often hear whoever wins the line of scrimmage wins the game. If you don't know football that well, how would you be able to tell who's winning the line of scrimmage?
Well, who's dominating the trenches? First, you want to look at the run game. What is the offense picking up per carry in the run game? Each running back. Secondly, you want to analyze, are they getting any pressure in the pass game? What type of pressure are guys up front getting in the pass game? And overall, you want to see how is the defense holding up against their offense.
What do you like about the way your group up front is playing right now?
I think we're peaking at the right time, especially later on in the last 3 to 4 weeks. I think we continue on the way we're going right now, continue building chemistry. Everyone is dialed in, everyone is ready. We're excited about this big game, but we know what we're here for, and we're going to keep at it. Thank you.
Several times this season. Would you consider doing another Holland celebration for the Super Bowl?
It's very, very possible, man. Holland, I'm a big fan of him since he was at Dortmund, BBB, so it's really cool that, that I'm able to, show that side of me, that, my passion for soccer is bigger than what it is, but it's also cool because he's a great player too, so, yeah, you never know, man. Yeah, to all my annoying fans out there, I promise you guys a celebration. I got you guys. Is it like this?
JuJu, we're from Philadelphia. We say that Philadelphia does not have the best cheesesteaks.
I did say that.
Can you explain, please?
I don't know. I think the 2 times that I've been there, I went to these 2 Philly cheesesteaks places. I don't remember their name, but I don't know why. I don't know if it's like I'm not going to the right spot, or maybe I need some sense of direction. So yeah.
you feel like this could be some major bulletin board material there in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, when I go back there, I definitely got to try, a better Philly cheesesteak.
Nicholas from Denmark. How would you describe the chemistry of your receiving group this year?
Honestly, there's about, I think, 7 to 8 of us, and the chemistry is unbelievable. Everyone works, together, hand in hand. I think the best part about our receiver room is that no one's selfish. Everyone wants the same common goal, and obviously it's to win the Super Bowl. But it's cool because there's only one football, and there's 8 of us who can do pretty much the same thing in everything. So it's really nice.
Coming here in this season and developing as a player.
That chemistry he's building every single day. He's a really cool coach, man. I love playing for him.
Trust each other as professionals and as friends and brothers to get the job done. So,
is there one thing about Chris Jones you think of that might surprise us that we might not know about him? I mean, tons been written about him, but what might we not know about him?
What don't you know about Chris? Probably that he's a cologne connoisseur. Yeah.
He always smells good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You don't want to say like, oh, he smells good, but he be smelling good. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, he definitely collects colognes and wines. So a collector of that type of thing. But yeah, he's a good dude though.
When you got here, did you know immediately what you had in a teammate in him, or did it take
Before I
practice?
got here,
Yeah.
I mean, he hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. Before I even got to the NFL, back when, and that just shows the type of leader he is, because that was actually during his contract talks and all of that. And, they're like always holding out, but he was still communicating with me, with all the other guys. He was showing that he's a team first guy, because a lot of the guys in that situation, they're like all isolated from the team, or, I want my contract, I'm not talking to anybody. Chris wasn't never like that. And even with the contract, he was never like that. He just always was, came, texted me, was like, helping me with the professional stuff, helping me get my weighting right together and stuff like that. And yeah, he's always been involved. I mean, that I knew I was gonna have a good teammate before I ever stepped foot in what was that, St. Joseph, my rookie year. And so and he's maintained that throughout this whole time and helped me grow as a professional. And I'm just happy and lucky to be able to help him, help him now, help be able to on the field and help him, when there's sack to be had or anything like that, covering him. It's a privilege, honestly.
Oh man, inspiration is everything, man. This inspired me to work even harder right here. Every game inspired me to go out and play my butt off for this team. It's a blessing to be in this position. It's a blessing to be on this team, part of this organization, and that's right there inspiration for me itself. No, we have some amazing guys in our scouting department, starting with Ryan Nutt, and that oversee everything, that brings in a lot of good talent. We have Veach, one of the best. We have Coach Reid, Chris Shea, Brad Tillis. We got a lot of guys in our third floor who is scouting, making sure that we're always in line to compete for a Super Bowl year in and year out. So with those guys behind the scene, there's no doubt in my mind that they're bringing in the right pieces to help us compete for another Super Bowl. Yeah, he can pass with those amazing receivers, but he also has the quarterback run game. It's just so many things he can do, man. He showed you how good he is this year. I think he only lost one game. Every game he started, he's dominated from the beginning to the end. He's been very efficient with his legs, not only with his arms. So we got to find a way to contain him. It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard, especially if we turn our backs as our linebackers. We playing man or something like that. It's definitely be hard to stop him. I know him. I know we never got to play together. We talked before. I wanted him to come back to the Chiefs before he signed with the Eagles. But yeah, give me a second. I got to go blow my nose. Sorry. Yeah, I wanted him to come to the Chiefs before he signed back with the Eagles. But yeah. Yeah, we're going to work it around again. We're going to start again, you know what I mean?
Chris, do you think, and obviously it's not your focus right now, but do you think the Chiefs this offseason might come and talk to you about redoing the contract?
I never really worry about that. I got agents for it, you know. It'll eventually work itself out, you know.
Do you think you deserve to be the highest paid pass rusher in football?
Do you think I deserve to be the highest paid pass rusher in football?
I do, but my opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, mine doesn't either.
Do the Chiefs think that?
We'll see.
We talked about Jalen. Are there some teams that you kind of help you prepare for this matchup when you play? It looks like you've had plenty of mobile quarterbacks on your schedule this season.
Yeah, not quite like Jalen. He's been special this year. With very efficient passing the ball, very efficient running the ball. Don't make many turnovers. Very smart quarterback. Heck of an offensive line. Heck of a run game. You know, they're an all-around team when you look at it from head to toe. Probably got one of the best D-lines in the game. Offense, probably one of the most proficient offenses in the game right now, other than ours. And I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
Find a way to somehow slow down the run and the things that they do. We know they do a lot of different things. It's not just getting the I formation and running ISO plays. And the added extra challenge is not only can the running backs run it, but the quarterback can. I just think if you don't do that, it becomes really, really difficult.
When I was talking to the Eagles, offensive players, even their coaching staff, I mean, they went back to your days with the Rams to just make sure they're not missing a thing.
I'm good. I'm a little sick. I got a sore throat. I got a runny nose, runny eyes. I don't know what happened. Last night, I was amazing. I was on cloud 9. Today, I'm a little, but I'm okay.
No, you will be okay for Sunday. That is the
Yeah, I
most
will.
important. You're in a position that you can make the big play in a Super Bowl. The big play that makes something change dramatically. Have you dreamed about it?
What's crazy? Honest to God, what's crazy? I had a crazy dream last night about the Super Bowl. I don't want to talk about it. I'm very superstitious, but I had a crazy dream about the Super Bowl last night.
Yes? What is about it?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
They told me if you tell your dream, it will never come true.
All right, so I have an idea what is about it. So how do you feel the team? Because obviously you have a tremendous season, but you are facing the best team in the NFC.
I feel good. I feel like it's going to be a challenge, like every other week. You know, every week we play football, it's a challenge. This is just another challenge on a bigger stage.
You know how it is to be part of this amazing.
Today. So when I was working with Jim Johnson in Philadelphia with Andy, I can vividly remember Saturday night where we have the meetings, and after the meetings you go sit and you have the snack and the meal, and the TV's on, and we were watching college games. And at the time, you know, this would be like the early 2000s or 99 or something, and we're watching a college game, and they're running option football, a little bit different than the way it is now, but the same concepts that you could give it off or the quarterback. And I remember Jim Johnson saying, Thank God we don't have to defend against that stuff. Because it changes everything. You know, it changes everything. And now that is in NFL football, and it does change everything, and it puts a lot more challenge on the defensive guys when the quarterback can not only drop back and throw it, which this quarterback can do, but he can also beat you with his legs. And in that offense, he's making decisions within the play to make you look bad, because he can decide whether to hand it off, throw it, or run with it. I think football today now is, I think, legendary when you think about what quarterbacks do and how hard it is on defensive play or defensive unit. We got to find a way to slow them down somehow.
Really good. Byproducts of successful teams are the top assistants are head coach candidates, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like your name is out there as it should be. You know, what are your aspirations? Do you still have aspirations to get back?
I do. I appreciate you saying that. Listen, I've just been a firm believer that I'm a Christian man. I believe strongly in He'll direct my ways and where I'm going. So I just kind of leave that up to him. And things going waves, right? You know, there's people looking for this certain guy. I still believe that, and I look at it all the time. I look at the Bill Belichick's, the Tom Coughlin's, the Shanahans. Look at Doug Peterson right now. I believe that when you look around the league, the guys that do it a second time tend to do it better because they've gone through some of the ups and downs. They know what not to do. I think they're just so far ahead. So if that happens, great. If not, I've got a pretty good job right now. I just want to make sure I keep the one I got.
It just seems like guys are, you know, the trend is to younger. Like
that might be,
right?
yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's like, you know, it's a weird dynamic. Yeah. I mean, less teams are going. Not that you're that old.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and maybe for whatever reason, and the people that make that decision, they got to make the decision for their own organization. So whatever they decide, they got to go. But I'm eager, and if it happened, it'd be a great thing. If not, I'm a content man working here for the Chiefs.
Just one more thing on that.
As us as a defensive line to get after.
How much of what you mentioned about moving up and down the defensive line, we see you do that, is what you go over and tell your coaching staff a spot that you see is something you can exploit? Is that a dialogue that you can pull out on your own and say, I want to go to this matchup, this is what I want to see?
It's more so of a mutual understanding. We watch a lot of film together, and we try to see what can give me the best opportunity to win.
Last one is, Pat said if any two guys would have a podcast on this team, he said it'd be you and Frank, but he's not sure if, the legality reasons, kind of where you guys would go with that. If you and Frank had a podcast, what would it be about?
It would be it would probably be about a little of everything. Real life issues, football, sports, most importantly, and just Frank is a huge car guy. We probably implement cars in there. I'm a huge wrestling fan. We'll probably talk about WWE. Just it'll be all around, It'll be tuning in radio, man. Y'all take care.
What was your reaction when you heard about the Tyreek trade?
I was shocked, like everybody else. I didn't think Tyreek would leave. Just that 2 years prior, we won a Super Bowl. That was my guy, though. Me and Tyreek was very close. Still love him to this day. But, yeah, it was hard.
When the shot cleared, did you kind of see what they were planning when they signed JuJu and Marquez? Did you kind of see that they had a plan?
I knew we had a plan as soon as we let Tyreek go. V-Chan, Reid is so smart. Brent Tillis, Clark Hunt, they always have a plan for a plan. So I knew it would be well prepared.
Chris, Brandon here talking a little about faith in football, and you're very passionate about your faith and faith in the Lord. What does your walk with faith mean to you in Jesus, and how do you apply that to your life in football?
I think your faith is huge. It gives you something to believe in, give you something to look forward to. I have a lot of faith, especially in what I believe, and especially a higher power. I manifest a lot of things before I even receive them. I manifest a lot of my success, manifest a lot of my goals in life. And I think this goes ways in hand in hand with my faith, my belief. Keeps me believing, man. Even when there's no hope, there's no sight of progression. it keeps me believing, and it keeps me grounded.
I'll make this my last one. Sorry. And again, if you don't feel like answering this, I totally understand. But I look at like the Brian Flores lawsuit and what the state of coaching and black coaches in the NFL is right now. And I just wonder what you think about where the NFL is as a league and making sure that black coaches are actually getting the opportunities versus going through the motions of it.
Well, I know the league is actively working towards improving everything. And so, I mean, that's basically out of my control, but I will say this. You know, things obviously has been moving forward. Look at D'Amico getting hired down in Houston. I mean, you know, obviously you always want things to be better, but when it's all said and done, when guys are putting themselves in position to achieve goals, and that's all what you want. When it's all said and done with, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to be placed in the right situations.
And you're absolutely doing that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Conference championship games
Yes,
in a
sir.
row, and
Weird COVID year, you know, it threw a lot of stuff off. You got all these different things you got to do. We got out there Saturday, the day before the game. You know what I mean? We didn't deal with all of this. We didn't have time to settle. So, but at the end of the day, that's not an excuse. You know, Tampa came to play football. They won the game, fair and square, and that's what it is. But it forced me to sit back and think about being second place. You know, I've had the fortunate experience of being able to go to a Super Bowl and win one, and also had the experience of being able to go to a Super Bowl and lose one. And I know both feelings. And I can tell you, you know, finishing second place and the things that you have to deal with, the thoughts you have to deal with, you know, those aren't thoughts that you want to stay with you for the next 6 or 7 months of your off season. Appreciate you.
Frank, question for you. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
Tell me about the look here. This is sharp.
Oh, man. I went with a more, you know, I threw the bifocals on. I had to throw these on because, you know, at the other interview, I kind of came, I wanted to give them the raw version of me. You know, I told them I want them to see my eyes, you know what I mean, let them know where I was coming from. More direct. This kind of, you know, the light, it's the lights. You know, I'm real big on lights. It's the lights, though. You know, I knew coming to this joint, the lights was going to be all in my face. Last time we was here, I was like sweating chickens. So I'm like trying to figure it out, you know what I mean? That's all.
I got you. Well, you like the bright lights. That's when you make your biggest plays. Do you visualize in these next couple days making those type of plays on Sunday?
Yeah, I think I do it too much. You know, I think I do it too much. I find myself like walking through the hotel, walking through the hallway, somebody walking by me, and I hit them with a pass rush move real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, they be sitting there looking at me like, man, what is he doing? And I'm just like the Tourette's is going crazy right now. You know what I mean? But, like, I find myself doing that, or I find myself walking and just closing my eyes, just visualizing something happening or a play happening. And, I mean, I don't know how other people are, but that's just one thing, and that's just how I am when it comes to the game, you know. I like to fully embrace, I like to fully put myself there. It's like going into character. If you know me, James, you know, I always say it, you know, I'm not really the same off the field than I am on the field. I don't know how to, you know, say it, you know, a little bit different, but I'm kind of, it's just, I like to go into my character. I like to, you know, go out there and just, you know, do what I do. Play football at the highest level I can play it at, you know, with reckless abandon, and have some fun, man.
Last one for you is Spags has been emphasizing you guys at the DN spot and being disciplined against the way Jalen plays. What is the part in his game that you feel like you have to be focused on most? Is it him running the football, or is it him throwing it?
I feel like it's his ability to run the ball, but definitely, I mean, you gotta honor both, half and half. I feel, because the moment you get lulled to sleep with the runs, it's not just him. You know, I know the talks about him because of what he's done for this team, but it's a team as a whole. You know, when you look at their running back, 14, 26. Them boys they doing their job. You know, Miles, I think he ran for 1,200 yards this year, 10 touchdowns, something like that. You know, that's going to help you win some football games. That takes a load off your quarterback. You know what I mean? Some quarterbacks in the league who got to take the whole load. You know, who don't really have a running back there. You know, so and we seen that. But you know, when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, the things he's been able to do, his ability to run and pass the ball, convert the chains. I believe they got this rugby style run where they get in the, you know, third and shorts, fourth and shorts, and they real live rugby style runs, and they pushing them. They getting first downs. You know what I mean? They going low. They got a 340-pound former rugby player at the left tackle. You know what I mean? I see where a lot of the influence is coming from. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm just looking forward to the challenge, brother.
Appreciate it. Talk to you Sunday.
Appreciate you, brother.
Mahomes said next door, he said if there's two guys on this team that should have a podcast, it should be Chris and Frank.
Oh, are they ready for me and Chris?
Congrats, dude.
Hey, we want to be there too. Were you like a Coach Reid admirer growing up?
Not necessarily, but you know, I always, you know, when the Eagles were playing, that was my team as a kid, and you know, being in the position I am now, it's just. It's a blessing, and for me to be in a position is what I do with it now. It's how I execute now, and that's what it's all about.
Was it kind of special when you met him first and talked to him first?
Well, we called me on draft day. You know, when they're after me, Coach Reid was on the phone. My family was screaming. I had my phone in my pocket because I was so hyped and amped about me getting drafted. Coach Reid's like, hello, hello. All I hear is my family's like screaming. So I didn't get to really have a full conversation with him until I got here and I was settled in the building. And you know, they showed me love to the family, and I was blessed to be a part of it and just ready to work when I got here.
I want to ask you a question about the Chiefs rookie class. I mean, 9 of 10 drafted players this year have had meaningful snaps, including the playoffs. What does that say about that rookie class?
You know, we came in as a whole as one. We wanted to work, and we love competing. And that's what it was all about, bringing competition in from this year's class into the room to compete, to get this team where it needed to go. And it absolutely paid off because we're here now at the highest the moment as you could get. And not only that, the rookies itself, we all had the mindset to make the team as first. That was the goal first, to make the team. And then second, do whatever we had to do to get on the team. And then third, to get here to the Super Bowl. And for me to soak it all in and with my brothers and the teammates, it's a blessing. It's amazing.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for your time here.
Hi, Isiah. We are TV Azteca, Mexico. A lot of NFL Hall of Famers never play Super Bowl. You as a rookie, here you are. How do you feel?
Extremely blessed to be here to represent New Jersey. My parents, my background, my culture. Something that I praise and forever will always be blessed and thankful to be here in the position I am, to not only show the world who I am, but to show the kids back at home that you can accomplish your goals and your dreams. You go to school, you do what you got to do to handle your business. It's all about, you know, what do you do with it during that moment?
Yeah, you have become a very important piece for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. How do you feel about your role in the offense?
You know, taking it day by day, step by step, being side by side by Pat. He's the leader of this team, and for me as a younger guy, leading continuously, being able to help, I have to do whatever I have to do to get the job done. And that's studying my playbook and studying the film and doing the little things, staying later, taking care of my body so I could be at the highest I could be when it's time to compete.
Victor Cruz was the last Latin American representing the Super Bowl. You are now a Latin American. How do you feel about that role?
Wow, I didn't know that. Now I do it. I might have to hit the Victor Cruz when I get in there, you know, to show it. But for me, take it play by play and live it during the moment. Never know when we're going to be here again. This team will not be the same next year. So for me as a young guy, soak it all in. The relationships that I have to build here, just be accountable to it. It's something that I will always cherish for the rest of my life. So for me to show the world how hard we worked to get here and how hard we play as a team.
Yeah. Say something to your Mexican fans.
Hola, ¿cómo está? I love y'all. Thank you. Let's go Chiefs.
Eso. Nos vemos en Azteca. See you in Azteca. Nos vemos en Azteca.
Nos vemos sin Azteca.
En Azteca.
Nos vemos.
Azteca is the channel. Nos vemos en Azteca.
Nos vemos Azteca.
En Azteca.
El Azteca.
Got it. Good luck on Sunday. All the best.
I mean, I feel like that's important. It's almost like, in life when you can mess up, and then you get your stuff together, and then it's like it stays together, and you build a better life off of that. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of things. We got our stuff back together. We're here talking to you guys. You're not talking to another team. I would have hated it. I hated it last year, watching the Super Bowl. I'm from L.A. Y'all know I live in L.A. So the fact that I have to go back to L.A., you got to understand the airport. It's like you got Bengal stuff. You got other. It's like I'm like, yo, I think I'm gonna go to Mexico for a few days. So I end up leaving, man. I left Cali. I went to Mexico during the Super Bowl. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I was over in Mexico enjoying the ocean. Appreciate you.
You and Chris kind of talked with each other. I mean, the Chiefs had a business decision with Chris in the offseason at that time, so it was kind of like you didn't know if you were going to be playing together beyond that season. Do you remember that moment in that Super Bowl?
100%. It was a slight moment, where I think it was coming down to the game. I keep dropping my phone. It was coming down to the final moments of the game, but it was like 4 or 5 minute mark in the game, and I'm like looking around. You kind of trying to get the feel for guys. I think San Fran was like, we had just came off the field. They was driving. It was like one of those tough. It's kind of like reality was setting in. That like, man, the season's coming to an end. They got kind of control of the game. They got momentum. It's like, dang, man. It looked like we wasn't really doing nothing offensively, defensively. So it was like, man, it was kind of settling in. I looked over at Chris, and Chris like, he like, man, 5. They called me 5. He like, man, 5. I miss playing with you. I'm gonna miss this, man. And I kind of looked at him, and I was like, man, this, that's a word. This ain't over, you know what I mean? He looked at me like, all right, fine, let's go there. And then we had like 2 more drives left guaranteed. 2 more drives left guaranteed. I'm looking at the time like, man, if we get a stop, we get the ball back to Pat, he's going to score. And we're going to have to go out there and get another stop, and we'll see how it go from there. But let's get these 2 stops first, because we have to get these 2 stops. If we don't get these 2 stops, this shit is over with. That's how deep it was. You know what I'm saying? We literally had this talk. I think they had it on the sideline. And I'm like looking at it. It was like tears coming in our eyes. I'm like, shit, it's serious, And we ended up going out there, getting a stop. I think I ended up getting a sack. Ended up getting a stop. It was just a dominant drive. We dominated them for those last like 2 drives. And we was able to get the job done. And fast forward, 4 years later, Chris is still here. He ended up getting his big deal. And we here today, man. We arguing about who's paying for the food that going out to eat now.
As close as you guys are now, has there been any discussion among the D-line that this might be the last run as these guys as you are right now?
That's always the discussion, and that's the discussion every year. I mean, if you look at every team, the discussion is. I tell them since I've been in the league, yo, this team ain't gonna be the same next year. This ain't going to be the same D-line. It's always moving pieces and moving parts of the puzzle that's going to be changed. You know what I mean? Whether you're a top dog or whether you're a bottom dog or, one of those guys on the bottom, it's like no matter what, it's going to be changed. So you can point to a specific player, when you're talking about that. But I watched a lot of things happen in this league that I would have never thought happened. Even on our own team last year, you watch some guys, end up getting moved around that you would have never thought got moved around, some franchise guys. But at the end of the day, that's part of the game now. You slowly watching the NFL turn into the NBA in aspects of players wanting to move around and players want to, have more control over the decisions and want to be in certain places and stuff like that. I think that's what you're slowly starting to see in the NFL. Yes. like he said, when you coming up, it's like you becoming the team. You the team that didn't do it the right way. You know, when I first got here, it was like, dang, they was that close, but the offsides caused them not to go. And now that it was all off of offsides. I'm like, offsides don't stop a team from winning the Super Bowl, okay? It's a whole team as a collective, like I just said earlier. Like, sometimes the units just don't mesh well. Sometimes you don't have the right pieces in the post. You can have 100 pieces the right way, and that 101 piece is just not right. It's not the right fit. And that can be the biggest difference to your team having success or not. You know what I mean? And those are the communication laps you see on the field with a guy who might, you know, he in his mindset, I got to get this bag, so I got to do this or I got to do that. So sometimes, like, you might see a communication lapse, or you might see a guy jumping the route. Or you might see a D lineman or a DN, rushing up the field when it's a draw play. And we know it's a draw. Or we know, QB draw coming in empty against the Eagles, but we're not doing nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to understand these type of things. And I feel like in the past, we didn't really put it together. And when you fast forward, guys being in the room, whether they're on contract, whether they're going to be here or not, man, I feel like it's key that you just take advantage of the situation in the moment. Yeah.
First time, when you're a head coach, you got to create a culture. You got to learn how to build relationships and earn the trust of the players. So I was really proud of the way that we were able to quickly build relationships to where guys believed in winning. And you had to win to have more belief, but we did that. And I think I look into going into the 2019 season. We had such a great 2018 season that in 19, I think the expectations were really high. I mean, people were talking about possibly the Bears being in the Super Bowl in 19. And I feel like I look back at that situation and say, how could we have handled that better and not having expectations, but more so creating standards of how we're going to do things. And we ended up 8-8 that year. We didn't make the playoffs, and then the next year we ended up making the playoffs. But just being able to kind of work together to fight through. Like, for instance, we had a couple losing streaks in 18, 19, and 20 that strung out. And instead of like a win, loss, win, loss, win, loss for 5 losses, we had 5 losses in a row, and that's tough. So being able to, stop the losing streak, get back to winning terms, but then also there's a lot of other stuff with, how you communicate with players, with being able to understand where guys are at and how they think, what they want to do. But there's so much. It's hard to explain here in just a few minutes, but I will use all of that to make it better.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hey, Coach.
How are you?
Mike Barber.
Hey, Mike.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Doing Christian TV.
Okay, awesome.
And a couple of the players, I asked a few of them, hey, give me your coach's name. They named you and just said your faith in God is very genuine and real.
Yeah.
And, you've gone from Chicago, and now I know Coach Reid has meant the world to you. Just in all of that shuffle, just your faith in God and what it means to you.
Yeah, well, I think number one, it's humbling to hear that from others when they bring your name up. And I was raised this way. My mother did a great job of teaching me the rights and wrongs and just understanding the importance of faith in your life. And it's you can go through some trying times, and I think in the end you always know when you have the extreme faith that I have and that others have, you do it together, right? And it's a brotherhood of all of us being together, and it's comforting. There's a peace to it, and it's for me it's always been that way. And I start my day in the morning with that, and it's sometimes not very long, but I think for me it's good. It's good for my heart, and when you go through good times, you stick to it, and when you go through bad times, you stick to it. And I think it's just always been in my DNA.
Being the quarterback coach, what is it?
One record, I believe, this year. And, when you're doing those type of things, as a quarterback, any quarterback, it don't matter who you are, Jalen Hurts, you can be, Kirk Herbstreit, whoever you are. At the end of the day, when you're doing these type of things, to win football games, hats off to you. That's crazy you said that. If you remember after that game, I believe it was on like First Take or something like that, an interview right after that game, and they said I think Shannon said it. He was like, the Eagles are going to be good. And like no matter what they was going through last year, you can tell. I mean, you can tell they was putting the team together. You know what I mean? Jalen had just gave the team to him, so he was understanding the system. Guys are buying in, trying to play for this guy, and I feel like they put it all together this year. When you first get there and you look at you look at this team and it's all these different moving pieces and stuff like that. They settled in on their O-line. They got rid of all the pieces that they felt that wasn't working for them, and I feel like it's all just coming together for them in the right fashion. I wouldn't say he's a different player, because some guys, we don't like to hear that he's a different player. Same player, just I feel like he built on the things that he needed to build on. I feel like whatever he needed to change to become, a better player, I feel like he made all those necessary changes. Like I said, hats off to him. Whoever's his trainer, he's in the weight room. He's doing what he has to do. He's able to break tackles, as a quarterback. You see those things with quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson probably being the most dynamic one. But, his ability to do those things is putting him in the same category, and it's putting him, he's able to walk the same walks of life as some of these other guys now. It's very remarkable. At the end of the day, when you watch a quarterback, a young guy, too, his ability to take charge of a team, he's in a tough division. He's in a tough conference alone in the NFC, where, you got guys coming. Them boys is coming. It's a hard conference to make it out of, and it just seemed like they swept through that conference this year. And him, and more particularly, his ability to, like I said, lead a team. You can watch when it looked like Philly was in the beginning of the season. Oh, Philly's not going to do nothing. They lost the game or whatever. And you watch everybody kind of calm down after that, because you watch him take charge and him lead, and him, it looked kind of nonchalant. It looked like he was unfazed by a lot of the critics and a lot of the things as he was before when he was a quarterback, at Bama. So you just got to give him, when he transferred from Bama. So at the end of the day, I feel like you got to give him his praise for that, man. You got to give the guy some flowers for, what he's done for his city, one, and what he's continued to do, for the culture.
Frank, behind the scenes, what have you seen from Khalen Saunders this year that made him kind of break out?
Man, I've seen Khalen Saunders develop into one of the best D tackles in football, Some people would kill me for saying that, but I'm saying it. I know football, I know players, and Khalen Saunders is that. I feel like he is the real deal. I feel like it's a lot of players on this team who don't get the love and the attention and those type of things because of the dynamic of our team. But I feel like Khalen is definitely one of those players that next year, if not a future player, if not a player who's, a starter in this league somewhere, or, here hopefully again, it's just I feel like he's going to be a player that's going to wake a lot of people up. He woke a lot of people up this year, but get that man the whole floor. Get that man the whole season to do what he do, and I feel like his breakout season still hasn't came. I feel like that boy, the things he's able to do in interior, his footwork, he got some of the best feet I ever seen. Y'all know Khalen run point guard on the hoop team when we hooping. Khalen is the point guard. So I mean, at the end of the day, when you got a 310-pound point guard pushing point up the court, man, that show you what type of athlete he is.
Frank, and then you personally, just as you look back, coming from Seattle, how happy are you with everything that has transpired over these past couple of years, and how much do you have a desire to not see anything like that? And I know you were able to work it out last year. How much do you want to continue?
Oh man, being in Seattle, I always said shout out to Pete Carroll and John Snyder for believing in me first and foremost. But I had a guy, like I said, and Andy Reid, who was sitting there looking over their shoulder the whole time. They watching, the whole time saying, hey, as soon as that guy free, I'm going to get him. And I feel like that's what happened. Just with talking with Coach Reid, when I first got in, that's one of the things he told me. Like, I was watching you the whole time. You know what I mean? Even I think it was a big game where we ended up playing. Kansas City ended up coming to Seattle, and we played them. And after the game, I was talking to some of the guys, and I kind of had felt, I kind of had a feeling like, man, I might be there one day. I could be there one day. Even through the pre-draft process, I ended up going on a visit to Kansas City. So like I said, just being able to be here. Shout out Seattle. There's no hard feelings to them. Shout out Seattle, but just being able to be here in Kansas City, it's paid dividends for me.
Frank, you talked about Andy Reid and how you guys have a special relationship, particularly beyond football. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what he's meant to you as a big coach?
He's meant the world to me. Coach Reid, he has been nothing short of the best figure, you know, if not one of the most positive figures I've had in my life, especially over the course of the last few years. You know, I've dealt with the loss of my father. I've been having to deal with that like over the last like 3 or 4 years. So, you know, just the things that I've had to endure and go through, you know, I've had, you know, it's taken a lot off of me because I have a coach like him. You know what I mean? I can come in days where, man, I might be going through some stuff mentally. It's not just me, man. It's other players as well. You know, we all have our battles. But I can be going through something mentally, and he understands it. You know, he gets it. You know, he's not one of these coaches who don't understand, who doesn't get a hard life. You know, or I'm looking at a coach like, man, it's this white-collar coach. He don't understand. You know, he's not from the same type of, you know, surroundings. This guy's from East L.A., you know what I mean? He's from East L.A. He grew up around, you know, people, in the gang communities and you know, in different African-American, the Mexican culture, all these different type of establishments. I'm not saying, you know, for a Caucasian man, sometimes it's hard to grow up in these type of establishments. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in South Central California. You didn't see a lot of type of, you know, you seen one color of people walking around. It was brown skin. It was brown skin. And for a guy like Andy Reid to come from the same type of likes of these places, it shows why he's able to draw and connect with his players. You know what I mean? It shows why he's able to go to these places and continue to have influence, you know, and guys respect him. You can talk to Michael Vick, talk to any guy who's came from under Andy Reid today, and they'll tell you the same thing about him.
As a player.
Appreciate you guys. Sorry, guys. I'll see y'all soon. Appreciate you, brother.